Good morning. Today's devotion comes to us from the Old Testament book of Ezra. And as Christians, it's often easy to focus on the New Testament teachings, but there are many lessons about God's character and the provision for his people in the Old Testament that we can draw upon. Today we're going to look at chapters 7 and 8. So now Ezra was a talented scribe, and he had memorized the law so well that he could recite it from memory. I mean, imagine that. At this time, Persia had overthrown the Babylonians, and King Artaxerxes ruled. And the king granted Ezra's request to restore Israel, Jerusalem, and the people to the law of Moses. Ezra's leadership was not just because he was a good scribe or because he was honored by the king. No, Ezra was a good leader because he had the good hand of the Lord upon him, from verse 9. And despite this, Ezra was still a man who had doubts and fears. And I think we can all relate to this, even those of us who have walked with the Lord for a long time. Sometimes we wonder where faith and planning and worry intersect, right? I mean, we wonder how we should handle these issues. Are we bad Christians for feeling this way? I mean, Ezra shows us a good example to follow in chapter 8. Verse 21 is where we pick it up. And seeing Ezra nervous about transporting lots of money and supplies, he was worried about looters and thieves. Sound familiar at all? He was ashamed to ask for an escort from the king. But the next action is where we draw inspiration, I think. Rather than become paralyzed with worry or fear, or to commit to an action that he was unsure of, Ezra fasted and prayed to God. And we're told that God answered his prayer, and we see a plan of dividing the money and supplies among 12 different leaders that would then mitigate the risk. Now, because Ezra was a man of God, he looked to the Lord for answers to his problem. And we might think that Ezra answers was a no-brainer, right? I mean, many of us understand risk mitigation, especially related to our finances. But we notice that God still delivered all the leaders from the threats in the end. And Ezra did not hold himself up in pride for his good ideas. Instead, they all gathered and worshiped and thanked God for delivering them. And this is the attitude that we as Christians should have in our troubled times. We look to God for our answers and for our comfort, not forgetting to thank him and worship him when he does see us through. I hope you join us this Sunday to worship and thank our God.